Hello there guys, what is going on? Son of Chelsea back here again for another edition of Let's Talk Chelsea. Hope you're doing well and keeping safe on this Tuesday. Getting closer day by day to the official start of Chelsea's pre-season. Expecting a few players to be back this Saturday. Well, particularly over the weekend. We're not entirely sure whether it's going to be Saturday or Sunday, but players starting to return, and potentially this could be the week we see official confirmation of Todd Bowley's first signing on the men's side regarding Chelsea. We'll get to Raheem Sterling because there is a lot of confidence there now that an agreement will be met. But I think that on top of that, the Nathan Ake story, a lot of opinions about him, and a report just from Matt Law that broke before recording regarding another attacker Chelsea could be in for in the coming weeks. But before we get into any of that good stuff, I want to ask you guys, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and a notification bell so you don't miss any of the uploads on the channel. Thank you for your support on the collab with Nini. If you haven't gone and seen it already, 2 parts that I've released in recent days. We speak about Delit. We speak about Raheem Sterling. We speak about a lot of things, and I hope you guys, if you haven't seen it already, please go and support it, enjoy it, because I'll be getting more guests onto the channel in the coming weeks. But let's get into it. This report recently out from Matt Law: Chelsea rival Arsenal for Raphinha signing as part of new look 100 million attack. Matt Law reports that Chelsea are giving serious consideration to rivaling Arsenal's bid to sign Raphinha. There remains interest in Ousmane Dembele, who is due to make a decision on his Barcelona future, and Everton's Richarlison, who Tottenham are in talks to sign. But Raphinha is emerging as an increasingly realistic target, with Chelsea weighing up a bid to go head-to-head with Arsenal. So Raphinha is not a new name. For many months, I think Chelsea have kind of been in and around sort of being linked to him, and we've seen Arsenal, who have now signed Gabriel Jesus. They want to sign another attacker. And very much this is linked to Ousmane Dembele, who is set to make a decision on his future, basically. Chelsea have not, as Ben Jacobs tweeted today, officially sent an offer to Dembele, but the interest is genuine. We've known that for some time. It's pretty obvious given Tuchel's liking of the player. But Barcelona have still kind of been in there with new offers. And Dembele, now it's about him making a decision. He wants these kind of ridiculous wage demands, which apparently neither Chelsea or Barcelona are going to give to him. But we'll see what happens there. I think it is kind of a domino effect, because if Dembele moves, which at the moment looks only likely he's going to move to Chelsea, Chelsea won't then get Raphinha, but Barcelona apparently want Raphinha as well. So it is one of those classic sort of domino effect things where potentially a lot of players could move around from different clubs. But Chelsea potentially going in for Raphinha, it very much sticks with Chelsea's trend this summer already of sticking with Premier League proven talent, which seems to be something the club are aiming for this summer in a number of positions. And I think it makes sense. I like Raphinha, I really do. I've said this on the channel before. If we can't get Ousmane Dembele, if he stays at Barcelona now, I think Raphinha is a good option. 11 goals for a pretty poor Leeds side is quite impressive. He does add similar things that I think Dembele would, being kind of that maverick, being someone who's really aggressive from a wide area, as Sterling can be as well. So we'll see on this front. I think, Raphinha looks like he'll be on the move. It looks like Leeds have kind of accepted that. They're already kind of planning for life after Raphinha. So I feel that we wait for that basically with Dembele, who I think would be a good signing, or Raphinha. Let me know your opinions. If it was between both of those players, because it does look like Chelsea now have Lukaku heading off as well, who is going to be on that other side, or who's going to be the second attacking addition. But let's speak about Raheem Sterling. Adam Newsom, my colleague, despite being on holiday, he's still in no. He's still tweeting reports, growing belief that Man City and Chelsea will reach an agreement for Sterling by the weekend. It feels like this is a matter of when and not if, and I think I'm more positive about Sterling arriving than not. I feel that the stats don't lie on Raheem Sterling. That doesn't mean that it's a no-brainer and nothing can go wrong, as I've spoke about on the channel before, as I've written about for Football London. I think there is a second part to all of this attacking sort of confusion or hopes for improvement this summer. I think part of it is Tuchel's setup, and part of it is maybe other additions across the squad to maybe open things up. But Raheem Sterling, I think, is an exciting addition. I think he really is. And just looking through some of the numbers, because of course as he gets closer to signing for Chelsea, there's a lot of reports and a lot of stats coming out about him, and just looking at them, they are impressive. I think as many caveats as people throw around Sterling, a player in his prime, the amount of chances he's created, because we speak about his goal scoring, but he has created a lot of chances as well for Man City. And you hope moving into a new dressing room, that influence that he's probably going to get under Thomas Tuchel, is this a chance for him to not revive his career? Because, I think he's still been doing impressive things, even if he hasn't always been a guaranteed starter, but really take more of a leadership role in a senior part of his career. Slap bang prime of it as well, and I'm excited to see what he could do in Chelsea's attack, because it needs vast improvement, and part of that is system. I also think part of that is individual quality, and I think Sterling has proved he can absolutely bring individual quality in the final third. But I do want to speak about Nathan Ake, because it was a bit of a surprise to me. We got the report from Matt Law as well last night that Chelsea were kind of in for Nathan Ake as well, and this obviously polarised opinion. I mean, I've seen some people sort of look at, and Matt Law brings it up himself, that Premier League experience, knowledge of Chelsea, that sense at 27, could he be quite a competent option that doesn't cost the club everything, basically? If you compare him to, say, De Ligt, which seems like Juve want a sort of a record fee for him. I won't get into De Ligt in this episode. I assume that's going to come back around, so I'll give my thoughts on De Ligt in another episode. But in the case of Ake, I find it just a bit bizarre, if I'm being honest, because I think it's a sideward step. Unless he's going to be given first team football instantly at Chelsea, I'm not quite sure why he'd move from Man City as a rotational option, potentially to become another rotational option at another club. And this kind of goes into the conversation about backing Tuchel and backing all of his targets, and understanding that sometimes a coach may not always be the best for identifying targets, and why Chelsea need desperately a sporting director, one with great experience in the game, and why an option like Michael Edwards or Paul Mitchell has been named. There's others as well who I think would bring that balance and would take Tuchel's suggestions and what Tuchel needs for a system, but then go out and identify targets as well. There is that second part, and just because Tuchel probably knows what he wants in his system, or knows the type of players he wants in his system, I do think there is that kind of balancing act between what a coach wants for his system right now and looking purely at the short term versus the long term benefits of signing a player. And I also think this is very relevant to Levi Colwill, because people reject this when you bring up, say, the academy option and the value in promoting an academy product. I think Ake is the best. Ironically, is the best example here, because of course he did come through Cobham. There was a time 5 years ago where he could have been promoted under Antonio Conte, and that's when he was sold to Bournemouth. But I just wonder, what is the benefit of spending, say, 20-30 million on Nathan Ake at 27, who is the player now? I think he'd be a competent defender, probably nothing more at this point of his career, to Levi Colwill, who can get those minutes instead, and the value of him increasing over the next year. And I think Trevor Chalobah, as we bring up constantly, it's such a great example of, if people would have valued him, say, this time last year compared to when he broke into the team and getting that new contract, how much is he worth now to Chelsea? And he saved us a lot of money, he really has. And I think Levi is just such an obvious option. Either we can agree and Levi's okay to go on loan for a season somewhere in the Premier League, and there isn't going to be massive panic of selling him this summer, or he's integrated into the first team. And I constantly go back to this. I think there are better options in the market than Ake and even De Ligt. I think I keep on saying that Gleason Bremer, I think that he is just a kind of a balancing act for me of a lot of targets on the left side. He's got experience. He's 25 years old, kind of similar age to when we bought Antonio Rudiger. He's seriously impressed in Serie A for a mid-table team, basically. I think he was voted Serie A Defender of the Year. I don't think it would cost the world for Chelsea to buy him. There's a lot of interest in him, quite obviously, and that's not that surprising. He's quite versatile. He can play across a back five. Chelsea were kind of looking at him apparently because of his ability to play on the left side, but if you watch him for Torino, he has proved very versatile, very aggressive defender as well. I think kind of the type of profile you'd want after losing Rudiger, someone who really goes towards the ball on those sort of wide centre-back areas, and why I'm personally a fan of Jules Koundé being signed. And I just think Ake, again, I'm not quite sure he moves the needle. I'm not quite sure he elevates what we have, and that's kind of why I'm kind of iffy about this move. I'm not totally against it, and it seems like Chelsea believe they can get the deal done. What that means then for the rest of the targets, if that's going to be the left-sided target, does that mean now that Koundé, who it appeared we've kind of called on, now goes back up in sort of priority? Because you think about that right side of the fence and trying to buy someone, or maybe we move back in for De Ligt and there's something to be done there. I think there's a lot of confusion now because so many names, Scrimmer has been thrown up as well, to kind of understand what the plan is now in defence for Chelsea this summer. Let me know your opinions, because I think generally there is kind of either, all right with Ake, or there is kind of negativity about it, and the need for a sporting director, I think, is just so clear to kind of clarify these targets and maybe think about the benefits of signing players. Even though Tuchel will have his ideas and will have his preferences, and backing that vision and trying to make the best of that vision, I think absolutely makes sense. Backing every target he brings up, I think does have some frailties that I think we've discussed on the channel before. So let me know your opinions on that in the comments below. Let me know your opinions on everything I discussed in today's video. Thank you guys for watching it. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and make sure to go over to Football London as well. Link in the description box below to check out all of my new articles regarding Chelsea. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you again. All the best.